It's noon in Kiev, which means it's our time on Freedom. The main event at this hour, in the studio, is Valery Klemenko. Hello. Kherson has been under fire from Russian troops since early morning. The occupiers struck the Korabelny district of the city. This was reported by local authorities. 2 people were killed and another was wounded. Later, the Kherson Regional Military Administration reported another Russian attack in which an elderly woman was injured. Russian troops continue to heavily shell the Sumy region. One of the drones hit a residential house in the Krasnopilya community. An entire family was injured, including a 4-year-old girl. Her mother and grandmother were hospitalized. The child suffered severe burns. Doctors are fighting for her life, according to the National Police of Ukraine. They also reported that as a result of the Russian attack in Sumy in the region, 6 apartment buildings and 7 private houses, a service station, a car dealership, and a trolley bus were damaged. Later, it became known that in the Sumy district, after Russian strikes with guided bombs, 2 people were killed and 3 more were injured. The Chernihiv region is also once again under attack by the Russian army. Several settlements were affected. With 12 Shahid drones, the Russians attacked a freight train on the Nosivka-Nizhyn railway section. The tracks were damaged. Due to the shelling, Ukrzaliznitsia's warehouse infrastructure was also damaged. There was a hit on an energy facility in Nizhyn. There is an emergency power outage in the city. Russian occupiers also struck a fire station, a unit of the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, in Semenivka. The roof of the administrative building caught fire there. The fire was quickly extinguished. During the shelling, the rescuers were in a shelter, so no one was injured. At night, Russian drones attacked the Odessa district. This was reported by the Regional Military Administration. An administrative building of a civilian infrastructure facility and an outbuilding were damaged. A fire broke out. There were no casualties. Russia launched more than 180 drones at Ukraine last night. About 100 of them were Shahids. This was reported by the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. A total of 154 drones of various types were neutralized in the north, south, east, and center of the country. Strikes were recorded at 11 locations. India and Russia have begun joint military exercises called Indra 2025. The maneuvers are taking place at the Malhajan training ground. The Russian Ministry of Defense claims that their goal is to practice actions to combat international terrorism. The exercises will last 8 days, until October 15th. Drones are flying more and more frequently over the secret facilities of one of the largest European air defense manufacturers in Belgium. They have been observed more often than a few months ago. This was reported by the company's director, Alan Kevrin, according to Politico. He called on the Belgian authorities to develop a clear plan for blocking and shooting down drones. Kevrin's comments come amid a growing number of reports about unidentified UAVs, particularly in Poland, Romania, Germany, Norway, and Denmark. Meanwhile, authorities in Germany's Bavaria want to allow police to shoot down unidentified drones. This was reported by the Prime Minister of the federal state, Markus Söder. According to him, in case of a threat, action must be taken, not just waiting. Let me remind you, on October 2nd, unidentified drones were spotted in the sky over Munich. The international airport suspended operations for several hours. About 3,000 passengers were unable to depart. 17 flights were cancelled, and another 15 were rerouted. China is joining what is being called Russia's shadow war against Europe. That's according to Bloomberg. We're talking about intimidation campaigns, cyberattacks, disinformation. This is happening across almost the entire European continent. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Foreign Intelligence Service has recorded instances of China providing Russia with satellite reconnaissance data to carry out missile strikes on Ukraine. Kristina Dombrovskaya has more details.
Chinese ships were involved in damaging cables in the Baltic Sea, Bloomberg reports. On November 17, 2024, an underwater communication cable between Lithuania and Sweden was cut. The next day, the cable connecting Finland and Germany went out of service. According to the Finnish company Cinia, it was severed by an anchor or a bottom trawl. In addition, China has ramped up cyber espionage, aiming to weaken the unity and influence of the West.
Chinese cyberattacks have become more ambitious and widespread. Western officials claim there is a growing symbiosis between Russian and Chinese disinformation campaigns. Whatever their differences may be, both China and Russia want a weaker, more compliant Europe. From a Bloomberg publication.
Another worrying sign, as Bloomberg analysts write, is Beijing's reaction to Europe's calls to pressure Russia to stop its aggression against Ukraine. For example, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Xiaokun accused, as he put it, other countries of fueling Russia's war against Ukraine. In his opinion, Russian aggression allegedly began because of regional security disputes in Europe. Meanwhile, the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine has recorded instances of China providing Russia with satellite intelligence data to carry out missile strikes against Ukraine.
There is evidence of a high level of cooperation between Russia and China in conducting satellite reconnaissance of Ukrainian territory in order to identify strategic targets for strikes. Moreover, as we have seen in recent months, these targets may belong to foreign investors. Oleg Alexandrov, officer of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine, in an interview with Ukrinform agency.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the PRC denied this information. However, on October 5th, during a Russian attack, at least 3 Chinese reconnaissance SAR satellites flew over the western part of Ukraine, according to the portal Militarnyi, after analyzing data from the Heavens Above monitoring service, which tracks satellite movements. As analysts from the British agency Bloomberg noted, China's interference in European affairs is far less aggressive than Putin's. It is Russia's actions that have led to increased tensions and the need to rearm the European continent.
Putin's Russia is becoming more and more repugnant. The political system has become violent and quasi-fascist. The economy is fully mobilized for war. Putin is forging deeper ties with other U.S. adversaries, such as China and North Korea. He believes that his country is already in an existential conflict with the collective West. From a Bloomberg agency publication.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is convinced of this as well. He noted that Putin is seeking, and I quote, to turn the political order of Europe upside down. And he added, it is precisely in Germany's interest to defend it. And when asked by German journalists whether Putin is waging war against Germany, Friedrich Merz replied, he is waging a hybrid war against us.
He, Putin, is waging an information war against us. He is waging war against Ukraine. And this war is directed against all of us. We will not allow ourselves to be intimidated and will defend ourselves effectively against this threat.
Earlier, Friedrich Merz stated that Russia may be behind the launch of most drones in Europe, including over Germany. He called the number of airspace incursions into other European countries unprecedented, even compared to the Cold War period. According to the Chancellor, protection against drones falls under the jurisdiction of the police, who are currently not sufficiently equipped for this task. He also reminded about the revision of the Airspace Security Act, which will grant the armed forces the authority to assist the police in shooting down drones. Kristina Dombrovskaya for Freedom TV channel.
Russia is waging a hybrid war against Europe. This was stated by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. According to her, the EU must look for new ways to counter Moscow. We can either stand aside and watch the escalation of Russian threats, or face them together, with restraint and determination, von der Leyen emphasized.
Make no mistake, this is part of a troubling pattern of growing threats. Across our entire union, undersea cables have been cut, airports and logistics centers have been paralyzed by cyberattacks, and elections have become targets of malicious influence campaigns. These incidents are designed to remain in the shadows of denial. These are not random acts of harassment. This is a deliberate and escalating campaign aimed at unsettling our citizens, testing our resolve, dividing our union, and weakening our support for Ukraine. And it's time to call things by their proper names. This is hybrid warfare, and we must take it very seriously.
Subscribe to UATV English and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.